Okay folks, Damien here with Best Care. What I'm doing today is I'm demonstrating a brand new overhead lift system we're going to be offering at Best Care. And before I get into the actual demonstration of the product, which you'll see over there in the distance, let me give you a little bit of background about lifting and transferring patients. You can see here in front of me, what we have is a floor lifter. This particular type of lift is used all over the place because of its low cost and the fact that you can roll it from one point to another. So a very popular type of solution, but there are inherent weaknesses in the concept of a floor lifter. The first being that it occupies floor space. So when using this type of device, we have to have the space to roll it around, to fit it through the door, to roll it on the carpet. It has to be easy to roll, so it does consume space. Plus, when a person's in it, you have to push the lift around with the patient in the lift. So it's not a very personal experience with the patient, because the patient's out here in the spreader bar, and you're back here. Plus, if the patient is heavy, maybe 500-600 pound patient, it's going to be more difficult for you to push the lift back and forth. So you can see that a floor lifter is a good solution for some situations, but others it's just too difficult to work with it. Another problem you can run into with the floor lifter is, will it fit under the bed? There's times where the bed is fixed to the ground, and you try and roll the lift under it, and it simply won't go under the bed. So you can kind of understand that the floor lifter is the basic way to transfer a patient who's totally non-weight bearing. And the more advanced way to transfer those types of patients is the overhead lift system. So let's get this out of the way for now and start talking about the overhead lift system. Overhead lift systems typically involve the requirement to install the rail system into the ceiling. And we all know there's cases where you simply don't have attic access to install something in the ceiling, or it's just too challenging for you to put the system up in the ceiling. Plus it takes a lot of time and energy and resources to mount something up in the ceiling. So let me introduce you to the E-Track system. This particular system does not require you to install anything in the ceiling. The way we accomplish this is we run wall tracks that run down the sides of the walls that are mounted into the drywall. So we have a wall track on one side of the room and a wall track on the other. So that's the building block that we start with the E-Track system. So once those wall tracks are installed on the walls and they're even in parallel, the next step is we install what we call the traversing rail that rolls back and forth on the wall tracks. So what you'll see here is that we can take this rolling track here and roll it back and forth on the wall track. So what does this do for us? It gives us complete coverage of the patient transfer area everywhere in between the two wall tracks. So we can cover every square inch of the lift area with the overhead E-Track system. So you can also see that the motor that we're actually going to use to transfer the patient rolls back and forth on the rolling rail. So great coverage and great access. So I've got a patient here in the chair, and I'm going to transfer that patient to the bed. So take a look at the experience you see here with the transfer, how much more dignified and easy it is for the patient. So I'm going to lower the track system down. It's battery powered, motor is. You get an up and down button, very similar to a regular patient lift. And I'm going to bring the motor over to the patient. Let's get it over there. Bring the spreader bar near the patient. Now we're going to connect the sling to the spreader bar. So it's very similar to the technique we use on a floor lifter. The spreader bar is a very similar type of spreader bar, but we're going to go ahead and connect it up here. So we got the two hooks and the 4 loops. Drop it in place and lock it. And then hit the up button. You can see that when we do that, the rail system kind of centers itself over the patient. And up we go. So what a different experience for the patient with this type of transfer. You can see I'm right next to the patient during the transfer. I can bring the patient from one spot to another. I can go wherever I want to go with the patient without any concerns about the floor space, without any concerns about pushing and pulling and tugging. The movements are very, very easy. And you can see, of course, going over the bed or a chair or any kind of object in this lifting area is really quite easy since we're just raising and lowering the patient with no concern for floor space. So, over to the bed. And back down again. So I hope you can see from this quick video that the E-Track system by Best Care with the Luna motor